Hello, my name's Cliff. I run halfpasthuman.com. I need to tell you real quickly about how I pissed off Google and apologize for it. Basically, the situation is that I had been contacted by some readers of my material. They had some issues with their advertising online. They were wasting a lot of money. They wanted some linguistic help. I set about to do that. There were enough of them contacting me that I knew there was at least a niche market for this material, so I set about making a book. I made a book and I called it Make AdWords Your Bitch. My problem was that there's a trademarked symbol in there, which is the word AdWords, ADWORDS. Now, I've been using that word, AdWords, here for about 5 years because about 2010 I started running across these words in the general giant conversation that is the internet when I swept it for my predictive linguistics stuff. And I had to filter out all the AdWords because, and they show up in my work very glaringly, mostly, because they're emotively linguistically inappropriate. So you're having a conversation that's flowing one way and then all of a sudden it skews over there with the introduction of this AdWord thing in there, this advertising keyword. Now, I did not know at the time that I wrote this book, because I've never done any advertising online up until recently, never bothered to even look at it. It was never even entered my consciousness. I just did my work and figured the universe would find it. I didn't have to go out and advertise it. Advertising is fun. I've gotten into it since I've been asked to by these few readers. I wrote this little book, Make AdWords Your Bitch, which has now been retitled, it's rebranded to dominate advertising online. And here's the situation. I pissed Google off because I wrote a book, used a trademark word in that title, and then set about advertising and selling that book. Now, I did this 100% in ignorance that that word was trademarked. And I had done it without being an ignorant pig because I'd done my due diligence. I searched AdWords for a trademark symbol on Google's own site before I've made it into my title. And this is what the point of this video is about. I'm going to show you a Google search on Google's site that shows AdWords is not trademarked. And I'm going to show you that you can make that same search using Google AdWords repeatedly and you won't see a trademark symbol, except occasionally you will. Last night I was seeing the trademark symbol once out of every 20 plus searches. It would show up sometimes 3 or 4 times in a search of six iterations, and then not again for 14 or 20 times. So it was really inconsistent. It's not so it's not every other one, it's not every third one. There's a weird kind of a pattern there. It's very variable. I've got some thinking I've done about it, but I don't know for sure. Nonetheless, though, when I wrote my book a couple of weeks ago and got it ready to title it, I titled it at the end of the process, and I went and I searched on Google to see if AdWords was trademarked. Now I'm going to swing around here and let you see the screen, and you'll see that there's no trademark symbol there. And we'll do a couple more searches for AdWords and see if it can show up. I'd like to show it to somebody and then show that we don't normally see it. Because my thing is that what happened, I'll show you in a second, but what happened here was I had an advertising campaign going. It's really phenomenally successful. It's on Twitter. I love Twitter. Twitter is real time. People give Twitter all kinds of grief, and they shouldn't. They just don't understand Twitter. I mean, in terms of advertisers, they don't like Twitter because they don't understand it. They don't know how to make it perform. But my approach really did make it perform. I was putting in $15.26 worth of ad cost on Twitter to get $693 in sales. And that was consistently holding. In fact, I could do better than that on some other advertising keywords. That's what I have to start using now instead of the word AdWords. Apologies to Google. I did not know it was trademarked. So in using advertising keywords and developing an advertising campaign on Twitter, I was doing very good. I had a response that had 5,160% return on investment at one point. And then last night I go to check my ads, as is my habit after doing my work on my reports and stuff. I go to do the housekeeping work. And so I went to check my ads, and there's this big giant red banner saying basically you screwed up. And it was on Twitter, and they were saying you can't advertise anymore because you've been a bad boy. And then they gave me some hints in a general sense as to what my offense might have been. Now, at first, I thought it was the innuendo, the sexual innuendo I was using as a theme, as a thread, a linguistic thread for my advertising campaign. And I am sense of the opinion probably not. No one's actually told me what my offense was. I've sent in a help ticket asking to have it explicitly explained to me. I'm pretty sure it was using AdWords, and I'm pretty sure Google complained to Twitter. And had I been Google, I would have bitched too. Now, I'm just a different kind of a guy. They're a corporation. They can't do things that way. If it had been me, I would have called me and I would have corrected it because I'm a nice guy, right? I'm not trying to scam them or anything. I did this in ignorance. I did not know. And in fact, they contributed. They helped me not know. So in my own defense, as soon as I discovered that there was a potential that AdWords was indeed trademarked, I went and removed it all the way from all of my material. Redid the website, redid the web page, redid the book. With universal search and replace, it's not that big of a deal. The book's being translated now by some friends of mine in German and Spanish. I've addressed that. I took down all of my videos off of YouTube that used that term. I need to remake these videos on how to use the product, but I won't be using AdWords. Sorry about that. Dust all over and I've been cleaning up. So anyway, we're at a situation where, or at a point here where my ads have been stopped by Twitter. I want to continue them. I've redone everything. I'm actually very apologetic to Twitter too, because I didn't want them in this position of being in the middle of this between Google and myself. I'm assuming that they're in the middle, and I'm assuming as well that Google's on the other side. And I didn't want to piss off Google. I've got no problems with them. I like them. They're good guys. I feel for them. they're drowning in data and they're running as hard as they can, and the data mountain keeps growing faster than they can search the thing. So, so they've got some real challenges over these next, 100 years or whatever as they move into this new millennium with the rest of us. Anyway, so like I say, I apologize to Google. I did this inadvertently, and I did do my due diligence, though, and your own site does not show the trademark claim. Therefore, I assumed you guys used it the same way I do, as a generic term, like facial tissue, right? As opposed to a brand name, Scott's or Kleenex or something. But I didn't know it was a brand name. Again, I apologize. I've corrected the offense. I would not have done it had I known, and I would not have done it had Google not contributed to the situation by not having it on their site consistently. So now let's zoom in and have a quick look, and then everybody can get back to their day. This is just kind of a weird situation. Let me see if I can get at that. So now I'm going to search for AdWords on Google's own site, and we'll see if we can actually get them to show us a trademark symbol. And the data is going to appear over here, so I'm going to focus the camera. Let's get our search there. Okay, so now I'm going to, oops. I'm sorry guys, I'm just not very good at all this video crap yet. Okay, there we go. So you see right off on top, there's no trademark symbol near AdWords. I've actually found it in one of their ads where it does show up. Let me reinitiate, redid the ads. There's no trademark symbol anywhere the word AdWords appears. And I'm going to back it out a little bit here so you see a bit more of the whole screen. And you'll see, I'm touching each and every one of these, there's simply no trademark symbol in there. I'll run the thing again. Again, it's not, there's no trademark. So at this stage, I can repeat that query pretty much indefinitely. I was able to run a Perl script and had it pop off a bunch. And out of something slightly shy of 1,200 queries on AdWords, we had 95 times out of 1,200 it would show a trademark symbol. This was running it last night. So like I say, there you go. That's the story of how I pissed off Google. Didn't mean to. It was my fault. I shouldn't have done it, and they should not have let me do it. No, I'm not copying that. I'm not saying it wasn't my fault, and I have indeed corrected it all. But interesting. You can't trust search. So if you're going to do this, you got to do a really serious search and not trust what the search engines present. I guess that's the lesson. Thank you much for watching. Bye.